Hello everyone, it's Bonnie from Lewis House on the Prairie, back this week with another video for you. Now this week I wanted to take you along with me as I write out my meal plan for my family for the next week and just show you what we're going to have for dinner and how I plan to deal with the food allergies in our house. So hopefully I can inspire you, so come along with me. All right. I have my little list pad here that I start with. I found these at Walmart. You can also get them on Amazon, these weekly meal plan with a shopping list that tears off. However, I do believe you could just use notebook paper and just split it down the middle, write your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, boxes, and just tear off the other half manually just to get you started. Now, I always write down my theme nights here so that I know how to narrow it down. And I showed this in my first video on how to make meal plans and where to even start. And then Sunday is our pizza night. All right, so I have my themes written down. So for Monday, for noodle night, we have not had spaghetti for 2 weeks. We had a beef and noodles thing. So we're going to have spaghetti, but instead of just plain spaghetti, I am going to make a baked spaghetti, make it a little extra fancy. So I'm going to write notes to myself that I'm going to add a bell pepper and shredded cheese on top. So I'm going to make the noodles, make the sauce. I'm going to add a bell pepper to the sauce. I'm going to add maybe some fresh diced tomatoes if I find them on sale, but I would add cans of diced tomatoes, and I'm going to put it in a 9x13 pan, top it with some cheese, bake it, and make it similar, closer to lasagna. So that'll make it a little extra fancy, not quite as boring. Now, taco night, we've had just regular beef tacos a couple times in a row now. So I think I'm going to do something with my air fryer that I have done before. So I'm going to make air fryer chicken fajitas. And it's super easy. I'm going to use a bag of frozen bell pepper strips. Since those are super convenient, I don't have to wash them and chop them. I'm going to use a fresh onion. I'm going to use fajita seasoning that I have in my cupboard already. And I'm just going to mix those things with some chopped up chicken thighs, because we prefer chicken thighs since they stay a little bit more moist. I sure can't get chicken breasts not to dry out. So I'm going to use chicken thighs, and I'm going to mix my seasoning with all of this stuff, and I'm going to put it in my air fryer on probably the bake setting for 350 for like 20 minutes. I'm going to open it and stir it a couple times, and it's going to get those char marks on it as if you did it on the barbecue grill. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So that is probably my favorite thing here, and I would make notes to myself here that I'm going to use chicken thighs. I'm going to use frozen bell pepper strips, and then a fresh onion. So now I know that I need to have frozen bell peppers. I'm going to need on my shopping list 1 bell pepper here for fresh, because I know I don't have that. And I have the spaghetti meat, and I have all the sauce and everything for that. I have chicken thighs, I have frozen bell peppers, I'm going to need a fresh onion. So I'm going to write that down. All right, so for casserole night, we are going to do something with potatoes, because we haven't had potatoes in a while. So I'm going to make some sort of beef and potato casserole. And because we have food allergies, we can't just use cream of mushroom soup or like French fried onions on top, or something that you would think would be a ground beef and potato casserole. So I'm going to use oat milk and cornstarch to thicken it. And I'm going to use just a bag of mixed veggies. And I know I have those in hand in my freezer. And I am going to I'm going to use potato chips on top because I think that would taste really good. Once in a while, I feel like you can have chips for dinner, right? So I'm going to write down potato chips on my list. And I'm going to hide them from my family so that they don't eat them before Wednesday. Thursday is soup night. I am going to just do easy on Thursday, and we have a freeze-dried soup mix that I order from Allison's Pantry. So I'm going to just do the freeze-dried soup mix. That way, if I need the kids to cook or something, they can. So for Friday veggie or fish night, I'm going to do grilled cheese and tomato soup. I haven't done that in a while. And now this, we have some vegan cheese, I think it is. We found at Walmart that doesn't seem to have anything bad in it, and we seem to deal okay with that. So I'm going to use this cheese that I found at Walmart it's already in square slices. And then this tomato soup, I have to find it at Albertsons, and it's in a box, and I think it's Imagine Foods brand. So I'm going to write down tomato soup here because I know I need that. The Imagine one. All right, and then I have the cheese, and we have, I better write down bread. And now rice, I am going to do a Mexican rice casserole. It's kind of another casserole, but that's fine. So I'm going to use a can of beans, and I'm going to use a fresh bell pepper. And I'm going to make sure I use some salsa to flavor that rice. So beans, bell pepper, salsa, a fresh onion would be nice. I'm going to make sure I buy salsa. We go through a lot of salsa. I have the beans. I'm going to add a second hatch mark to my bell pepper. And pizza, I think I'm just going to do frozen thin crust pizza for the boys that don't have any food allergies. And I'm going to make homemade. And I'm just not going to use cheese on this. I'm going to just use olives, canned mushrooms. I know it's terrible, but I don't think that starting at the beginning of my week, I don't think the mushrooms are going to hold out until Sunday in my fridge. They just expire so fast. So sometimes I use canned mushrooms, or I put them in the freezer. And we might do some turkey pepperonis on there. And now I'm going to, for homemade pizza, I can make my crust just with any old gluten-free recipe off of the internet. And then I just add some Italian seasoning to it so it tastes extra good. And we make our own tomato sauce with freeze-dried tomato powder. You can get tomato powder on Amazon. You just add a little bit of hot water, and you add a little bit of your sweetener, whatever you like. And it just makes your own tomato sauce, and you don't even need cheese. You have your homemade crust that has the seasonings in it, so it tastes really good. You have your homemade tomato paste, or you can buy it and just add stuff. And then you just add your veggies and maybe a little bit of meat, and it tastes really good even without the cheese. It doesn't even need it. All right, so we are at the end of our meal plan. I don't need a whole lot because most of this stuff, I have everything on hand. I have my notebook off camera here full of what I inventoried. Hopefully you guys watched my first video on how to start meal planning. Where do you start? It gives you all the tips and tricks that I use. I'll link it down below in the description box if you didn't see it. And I still will write breakfast foods that we need. I will write anything we need for lunch, if we need some lunch meat. We don't really do anything too fancy for lunches, just sandwiches basically, or leftovers if we have some leftovers. So I'll still add those to my list, and then I'll tear this off and go shopping. And yeah, so I hope this helped some of you, gave you ideas on where to start, how to do things. If you have any further questions on my recipes that I use, you can certainly drop a comment and I will respond to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week.